100% sure that today we are facing this exponentially growing financial crime rate, which is growing 150% year on year. And that's huge. And I'm also definitely, like many other people, getting these scammer calls, impersonating government entities and trying to access my UAE pass and my identity details and bank account and all these. It's only possible because traditional organizations are unable to battle security challenges.
Welcome to this week's episode of Akoni Tech Talks. We are joined by Barbara today. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Happy to be here. Welcome, everybody.
Yes, and Barbara, can you start by telling us about your career journey and how you kind of got started in the financial and technology industry? Like, what sparked your interest in this field?
I live here in the Middle East for almost 2 decades now. First, I started to work with the stock market companies and the stock exchanges in the UAE. Right after that, 2008 crisis happened. And of course, there was not much to do. So I had to dig really deep and I had to learn whatever I could learn. There was a fantastic source for this. I'm sure he's one of the biggest influencers in digital finance, Jim Marous. At that time, he had a blog in which he posted a lot of reports, articles, and material about this topic. So I started to learn everything from the news, from case studies, and from Jim's blog, and started to find out which organization is kind of leading in this geographic digital space. I started with Moshrek at that time. After that, I worked with big global and regional and local banks as well here. I'm economist, the basic background. And at the beginning, I didn't have any IT educational background or anything like it. Now I already have. So I have a degree in IT and data analytics, data science. So I can really connect the dots. This is it, more or less.
And what kind of role do emerging technologies like blockchain and metaverse sort of play in business growth? I mean, how can businesses sort of leverage these trends without getting lost in the hype?
Well, we are already lost in the hype. This is what I can see. And this is mostly because new innovation, new technologies are appearing on a daily basis. So it's a hyper speed in terms of change.
Yeah.
And I would say that technology already overgrown us. I mean, overgrown the practical understanding of most people who are supposed to utilize and leverage on this technology. I wouldn't say that everybody should be a techie in a business organization, but at least they should understand what's available now and how they could use it, what kind of use cases would work on it. And when I was working in banks, I was leading large delivery teams and I was dealing with vendors, technology vendors as well. And I have to say that it's not the skill gap and the lack of understanding is not just on the business side, it's also on the vendor side. So vendors are inventing new tech. They grab onto some solution working out for them to develop. And then they don't really take time to understand what the businesses would need. So they fabricate a use case on the top of their sales pitch, and they try to push to everyone the very same use case. And the business may not want that use case, but they don't understand what the technology is capable of doing. They don't have time. Everybody is rushing around the clock. So they don't take time to understand deeper that, maybe not this, but then what we could do with that tech.
Yeah.
So same old trade relationships or economic relationships. Somebody knows somebody. The company CEO or chief or heads may know a tech vendor and they are introduced to each other. and now they are going to make something together.
Yeah.
We tick the box. We will celebrate once we launched it. Sometimes we monitor the performance, but sometimes not. Who cares? One box is ticked, we are happy. Money spent, we had budget, we celebrate, we are good. We made something, we innovated, we are innovative, we are leaders, we are champions. It's always the same thing, and it's staggering how many traditional organizations kind of advertising themselves as leaders of certain areas, and oh my God, they're by far not even close to lead anything around the topic.
Yeah, it's interesting what you said about sort of like everyone rushing and making it a tick box exercise. I think people sort of rush and go, oh, let's
Yeah.
automate everything. But I mean, why isn't automation alone enough to kind of drive that business success in digital transformation? What else do you think is required for that sustainable growth?
Yeah, the best question, I think, of the week. Because uh, so we are now at the fifth industrial revolution, or not even industrial, it's an information revolution, or AI revolution, or technology revolution. So far, every kind of revolution, or world war, or conflict was about to allocate or reallocate or occupy or reoccupy certain geographical areas or physical facilities. Now, that in the digital age, everything is interconnected on a totally different level. Last year, 20 million people announced themselves or called themselves digital nomads. That's a huge number. So we are not anymore stuck to physical locations and physical facilities. So the entire geographical value and organizational management and system and everything is shifting up from geography to a totally different level, an interconnected level, unipolar economy of the world eventually, if we allow that, or if everything tends to serve that and support that. But at the end of the day, we are not anymore bound to stay and operate at a certain location. And that's and brings up a lot of issues in the economy, society, and governments as well, and on regulatory level and legal level. Because today, most of the organizations which we are interacting with in our daily lives are global already, at least multinational. And for example, if you buy something Amazon in the UK, in order to pay less taxes, Amazon UK pretends to be in Ireland or Luxembourg suddenly, and regulators can't do anything about it. So it's a kind of never-ending battle, or it's never gonna be resolved in a way how we are living around our current rules, because these rules are already outdated. Monetary systems, regulatory systems, frameworks, how we are trying to approach the economy and the society, those rules are already not working on this interconnected international digital level anymore. But since rules are human-made, we could make new ones. We have to make new ones on totally new, different infrastructures and different ways of interactions, how we should look at this. So the entire big picture is missing. The other thing is that now I'm teaching digital transformation and banking and economics and all this tech stuff. And what I can see is that the education system is not prepared at all for this. Or the education system is not preparing us anymore for this. Everybody in the past was learning about that we have to specialize, because that's when you create a niche expertise for yourself and you're going to be wanted. Now, if you specialize sooner or later, maybe your niche is going to be impacted by the AI and you have nowhere to go. And if you still have an opportunity to work on your niche, then you are not going to be able to build complex solutions, automation. Every business job today is at least 50% about automation or digital transformation everywhere.
Mm.
And if you're unable to oversee a complex use case, how you can build that technology into your processes and your business model to make something better, because even if you understand your own organization's processes and business level, you might not understand the macroeconomic impacts of all these.
Yeah.
So why would you automate something to build further this business model for the longer future? We have to now go back and be generalists instead of being specialists to understand the whole picture, the full picture. And digital is connecting everything to everything. That's why you have to also connect all your knowledge and understand how it will connect better.
Yeah, you touched on the education system as well, not being able to keep up with that as well. It feels like it's behind. Do you think, I know we come back to it all the time with lots of things, but do you think post-pandemic has driven that rush to innovate and to drive that digital transformation? Or do you think actually we were always going to head this way anyway, regardless of the pandemic or not?
It accelerated, definitely.
Yeah.
Before the pandemic, I remember banks, one of the major initiatives of banks was to migrate users from physical channel to digital channels. After the pandemic, it wasn't a question. So everybody just quickly learned how to be a digital user, and it was no more on the agenda anymore. So it definitely helped in a good way, I suppose. But in terms of being more self-efficient, capable, and organizations and services became more accessible, it definitely helped.
Yeah. What do you think are the biggest challenges companies face when trying to evolve their digital ecosystem?
They are lacking the vision, the complex vision. If
Mm-hmm.
there is no vision, I'm not saying that vision is supposed to be a very, very long-term vision necessarily. I also teach this three-horizon strategy where you have to have a strategic vision for short-term, mid-term, and longer term. And banks don't even know or articulate or dare to declare and make themselves identified with a certain vision where they want to reach in at least 3 years. 3 years is not a long term, but they don't even know what they are going to sell or be in 3 years. And I'm telling you that they are not supposed to sell the same things what they are selling right now in 3 years.
Yeah. And looking back at your career so far, what's been the most rewarding part of working within both the financial and technology sectors?
Well, we could deliver and enable solutions. Faster, cheaper, better things are more wanted. Actually, it's not just more wanted, it's an absolute normality now that everybody is aiming for faster, cheaper, and better, instantly accessible solutions. So this is good. I'm enjoying enabling change. Change is good. Change is my absolute normality.
And where do you see the biggest opportunities then for innovation in banking and finance in the next 5 years?
Oh, I'm 100% sure legacy infrastructures will go away or should go away or will be completely obsolete. So it's actually so overgrown already that banks are building on quite oldish, regularly updated, but still old legacy technology core systems. So it's a totally overgrown, overlayered, gigantic, tedious construct in every bank, which hundreds of millions per year just to operate. And today, technology, I would say that, of course, AI is a revolution, is one of the biggest inventions of our time. But besides AI technology, what not many people are talking about is the other revolution is the blockchain.
Yeah.
So I'm 100% sure that today we are facing this exponentially growing financial crime rate, which is growing 150% year on year. And that's huge. And I'm also definitely, like many other people, getting these scammer calls impersonating government entities and trying to access my UAE pass and my identity details and bank account and all these. It's only possible because traditional organizations are unable to battle security challenges properly.
Yeah.
And it doesn't even worth it to emphasize on security enhancements for a lot of money when we have a blockchain technology where people cannot do this. So you cannot be hacked. Your identity cannot be stolen. Digital IDs already exist. These are existing solutions. The use case is missing. Pieces all are running, and there are some little by little use cases coming up. But the real use case would be digital ID administration system, not the digitalized electronic ID, but the real digital ID, which is not hackable. They cannot steal your real ID details. It's a dynamic code which is embedded and changes. And not every third party who can get access to these details as well. So that's the real privacy protection. So the national ID vault on blockchain, national wallet, digital blockchain on the top of that. So I don't need any more KYC verification like this. And just transfer me 1 dirham. With the blockchain, I capture all your KYC details for free. Open banking is dead if you are looking at this type of solution next to it. Who wants to pay to access an expensive API infrastructure plus do a lot of integration works and stuff along with it and pay for the data, which is not even real time, if I can get through a penny drop transaction, real time, instant, full KYC, better quality data for free? Who could do that? Nobody wants to bank openly. The branding is horrible. Customers don't want to provide their details being accessed by third-party financial institutions or anyone else. And as well, banks don't want to share their data. So why are we still so happy about it that we could do some kind of data aggregation on a dodgy solution? It's already more than a decade old technology. So I believe that blockchain together with AI could revolutionize our entire life on this earth, actually.
Absolutely. I think that's the perfect segue into our trending in tech round, which is again about banking, but banking as a service, which is an emerging business model allowing non-bank businesses to offer financial products by integrating with licensed banks' infrastructure through API. So a recent example of it in action is a partnership between NatWest's Fintech division, NatWest Boxed, and the motoring organisation AA in the UK. So NatWest Boxed has provided savings accounts and personal loans to AA members, demonstrating how banking as a service facilitates the delivery of financial services beyond traditional banking channels. So with the rise of banking as a service and its potential disruption to traditional banking models, how do you kind of see it transforming the financial services landscape, and what opportunities do you think it creates for both established banks and fintech startups?
I think banking as a service is the way of doing banking because since we are not necessarily the big fans of visiting brick and mortar branches, banks anymore, absolutely no point of going to a bank to shop for credit cards and loans and accounts. Nobody wants accounts, cards, and loans. They need it. They need it to get things, what they really want. And banks still think that the customers are going to come to them. Bankers think that customer journeys starts and ends in the banks or in the banking channels. No, they're at totally different places. So people want food, clothes, school for the kids, healthcare, cars, travel, whatever. They never want accounts, cards, and loans primarily. They need funds. So banks are financial enablers to help people get the things what they want.
Yeah.
But because they are not in the channel mostly where people are trying to get the things they want, fintechs are getting closer to leverage on this lack of presence of traditional banks in these journeys, like buy now, pay later is booming. Banks are not offering buy now, pay later. Why not? I mean, I know that the pure buy now, pay later, the regulatory construct of the buy now, pay laters are not suitable for banks primarily. But because they are not tabby, are not fully KYCing the customers, take the risk of going along with it as it is. But banks already have hundreds of thousands of customers, if not millions, who are already KYC'd. Why don't you give them, please? That wouldn't be riskier at all for the banks. They would be able to get the revenues from the merchants like the buy now, pay later companies do. And they could even develop further products based on this kind of characteristics. But they just don't, they are protecting the status quo. Really, they're not really looking further how to improve the traditional banking model, because they're still thinking that if this worked for more than 100 years, why wouldn't it work further? It won't. MasterCard and Visa has created a totally different solution than the credit card clearing houses, the instant direct payment channels, because they know that nobody really likes credit cards, except for the banks and Visa and MasterCard. But merchants don't like it. Settlement takes long time. Customers, except for the very little niche who love the airport lounges and golf club and entries or whatever comes with the credit card, those may like the credit cards, but nobody else does. So it's quite a hassle, but still we cannot live without credit cards. We could super easily, we could switch into account-to-account payments, even through MasterCard and Visa's Visa Direct and MasterCard Send platforms. But with blockchain, it would be absolutely more understandable and convenient. The only thing what people understand and associate with blockchain today is crypto. And they can lose a lot because there's nothing behind these currencies. What's behind the fiat currencies? Nothing. Now we have the same problem with the fiat currencies than what some people are complaining about in the crypto world, with the difference that we still cannot buy stuff with the cryptocurrencies. We can buy Dubai properties, but that's not necessarily what everybody would want to buy every day. And what I was very lucky to work with, we have the third generation of blockchains available anymore for financial transactions, which can host new money, which can have a value behind it, which is protected against inflation, which is legitimate, parent, and accounting enabled and reconcilable and capable of doing all kinds of financial transactions, what any kind of situation would require. And that's not the classic second generation Bitcoin, Ethereum, Ripple, Solana, whatever blockchain. It's a new one. But like every new technology, internet wasn't perfect when it was invented, but it got really better. Blockchain wasn't perfect for our everyday life when it was invented and grew out of the game, but now it is.
I have to watch this space so we could
So
talk
it's
about
absolutely
it for ages.
fascinating. And one blockchain ecosystem could replace the entire economy's financial infrastructure.
It's mind-blowing a little bit. But we come on to the final part of the podcast, Barbara, which is our quick fire this or that round. So if you had to pick iPhone or Samsung?
I'm a Samsung fan.
Yeah. And then Spotify or Apple?
Don't really a fan of either of those, but
Yeah.
yeah.
And then Netflix, like streaming services or going to the movies?
Netflix for me. I don't
Yeah.
like to sit in the dark with strangers and listen to their chewing and
Yeah.
stuff.
And then laptops or tablets?
Laptops for me. I do more stuff than just watching.
Yeah. And then ChatGPT or virtual reality?
I like the real tea, so I will stay with ChatGPT.
Yeah. And video calls or voice notes?
Both, because they
Hmm.
are for different purposes.
Yeah. And finally, if you could bring back one piece of tech that's either now evolved or it no longer exists, what would it be and why?
I was thinking about this a bit, but I wouldn't like to bring back anything. I like change. I like better things. I like
Yeah.
improvement. For the looks and the nostalgic feelings, I do have my grandmother's radio and stuff like that,
Oh,
but not for the use of it, but nostalgia, memories, and stuff, sentimental feelings
yeah.
are nice. But it's good to remember that we are now having something much better.
Yeah, of course. Oh, I love that. It's been such a pleasure to talk to you, Barbara. That brings
Yeah,
us to
same
the
here.
end of this week's episode, but thank you so much for joining
Thank you,
us.
Francesca. It's great to be here.
Perfect.